Dave Anderson here with the Fisherman magazine, and I think this week, after the storm blows through, the fishing's going to be a little challenging. But still, we heard about some really nice stripers this week, even up as far north as Plum Island, where fish of 38 pounds were taken from the surf. We heard that the black fishing in Rhode Island continues to produce really nice big blackfish. We heard that eastern Long Island Sound really lit up for blackfish as well. And the freshwater fishing got really good right as this storm started to blow through. Stay tuned for all that and more on this week's New England Fishing Forecast.
The fishing news is sponsored by these fine partners.
And so let's start things off as we have been over the last few months, and that's with the Albie report. And as I alluded to in the intro, things are going to be different just because of this crazy storm that you witnessed a little taste of from the beach in the intro. So really the only Albie action that I heard about this week was in the western Long Island Sound. I didn't hear about any fish in Rhode Island. I didn't hear about any fish around the vineyard. May have just been a case of me not getting the reports, but that's the only place that I'm hearing about fish right now is western Long Island Sound and central Long Island Sound, like around the Connecticut River. The best Albie fishing seems to be around New Haven and Norwalk. So those are the areas that I guess I would try to pick up the pieces after all the dust settles from this storm. And I really think that that's going to be your best bet. Now let's move over into the freshwater world. And the freshwater fishing, I could have told you, freshwater fishing picked up really well the last couple days, right before this front came through. Especially the largemouth and smallmouth bass fishing was really good out on the Cape, throughout other parts of Massachusetts, and select places in Connecticut, as we've discussed over the last few weeks as well. I look at that as meaning that really any place in southern New England was probably going to give up good bass action, just based on the movement of that front and those fish just trying to bulk up before the uncertainty of the storm comes through. I didn't hear much trout-wise. I do know that that out on the Cape in the stocked ponds, it's been really good, and that's going to continue for quite a while now. This is a great time of year to head to the Cape and fish for trout because really not that many people take advantage of it. A lot of freshly stocked fish in many ponds out there, and you usually get your pick of the spots. It's not like the springtime where you go there and there's people lining the shoreline. You can kind of bop around and try the spots you like the best, and usually have even the whole pond possibly to yourself. Now, before I begin the Massachusetts report, I just want to tell everybody that we've been dealing with a power outage here, and I'm going to keep things on the shorter side today. I need to upload these things. I need to find a way to do it without power, and so I'm just going to keep everything short so that I can get them up in a timely manner. So let's move over to Massachusetts, and the first big thing of news that I heard came from James Jukes up on the North Shore, usually who I start with, and he said that they saw a run of bigger fish again this week, fish from like slot size up to 38 pounds. He said these bigger fish are all coming in the dark. It's been a night game, guys throwing eels, needlefish, red fins, hydro minnows, big metal lips, things of that nature are catching some really solid fish up there right now. I got a shot here with that 38 and a couple others that they took this week. Nice solid fish, for way up on the North Shore like that. It really bodes well for the late season on the South Shore and throughout Rhode Island and Connecticut. Moving down into Cape Cod proper, didn't hear a lot of bass news this week, but I did hear that there have been some big bluefish along the outer beaches and around Chatham area. A lot of that news came from customers of the Goose Hummock Shop. I've got a couple shots here of that as well. So some really nice bluefish there. Hard to say whether they're still going to be there after the storm blows through, but they were there. Out in the vineyard, didn't get a lot of new information from out there. The blue fishing is still pretty good, and the bass fishing seems to be better than it has been for the last month. So there's more bait around out there, some bigger bait, there's some bunker and squid, and and the fishing has picked up. The bass fishing has picked up, particularly from the surf and particularly at night. Another place that's been really good is the canal. It continues to produce good bass fishing. Not quite to the level that it was at the beginning of October, but we're still seeing solid fish, up into the 30-pound class, and lots of slot fish. It's still mostly a jigging game, but I have seen more evidence recently of fish taking topwater with a little bit more regularity, so that's something to keep an eye on. Moving over to the bottom fishing side of things, black fishing is still very good. Buzzards Bay has been the epicenter in Massachusetts, and also heading out toward the Rhode Island border, like off of Westport and stuff, where Jason Colby fishes. A lot of solid fish being taken there, and black fishing just seems to be getting better and better in Massachusetts. Still not seeing quite the occurrence of larger fish in mass that we're seeing in Rhode Island, but it seems to be slowly catching up. So that's another thing to keep an eye on. And the last thing that's worth talking about is that the tuna fishing has really been surging lately. A lot of bigger fish. Like the guys from Fish Chatham Charters have been pulling some big giants, and quite a few others. So we're starting to hear and see more evidence of better tuna fishing, mostly east of Chatham and up on Stellwagen, but even up into Cape Cod Bay. The giant fishing has been really good over the last couple weeks, and seems to be showing signs of getting even better over the last 5 days or so. And that's the story that I have for you guys in Massachusetts this week. Over in Rhode Island, the striper fishing seems to be seeing waves of new fish. So we'll see like a really good flurry of fish, and then it slows way down. Then it picks up again. Then it slows way down. And the other thing that I've noticed is that we're seeing a lot more of these quality fish being taken in daylight. In fact, I got a shot from a reader today of a 47-pounder taken from a Rhode Island shore location in daylight. Details were kind of foggy on where or what he caught it on, but I mean that's a killer fish, solid fish, and loved getting that photo. But I've seen it myself, and I've seen it through talking with other people in other shops. The surf fishing has been really good for striped bass again this week, especially as we approach this storm. When we had a couple cloudy nights there and that bright moon was obscured, heard about a lot of fish in the 20 to 35 pound class. Needlefish have been really popular. They've been really popular in Rhode all year. But down along the breachways, guys are getting them on darters, they're getting them on bottle darters. Guys are always going to be, you're always going to hear about guys getting nice fish on eels. And I've heard about some nice fish taken to the breachways on bucktails this week as well. So all along the beachfront, I mean, really from border to border, the bass fishing has been very good. And pretty much if you've got time to fish, there's no reason not to go. Because right now, these fish seem to be feeding around the clock. And if you do some moving around and targeting some areas with good moving water, you may find some really big fish in daylight. The black fishing has been phenomenal, and it has not slowed down one bit. Fish have moved a little bit deeper, so we're hearing about more guys fishing 20 to 30 feet of water right now. But there are still fish up in the shallows, still fish being taken from shore. And, once again, we're hearing about a lot of 8 to 10 pound fish. Relatively speaking, guys are still getting a lot of shorts, they're still getting more smaller keepers, but as far as picking an area between Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Mass, if you want to really look for a big dinosaur, Rhode Island's the place you want to fish. Guys are getting them around Point Judith, they're getting them out around Block Island, they're getting them all around Newport and Jamestown. Any of these deeper water spots with a lot of ledgy structure seem to be holding a lot of fish. And I've also been hearing about guys doing very well on wrecks over the last week or so. So that's another thing to think about. And of course, as you get a little bit deeper and you're targeting more of these, wreck type structures, you're also going to start seeing some mixing of sea bass, and you're going to see some codfish as well. Overall though, the bottom fishing has been unbelievable, and I really do expect that fishery to have no trouble recovering. Just give it a couple days to clean up, and I think things will be right back to smooth sailing. And let's see, Oh, the other thing that I did hear about, there's been a lot of hickory shad around. Hickory shad around like the narrow river and the breachways. And those are really fun fish to catch. A lot of people overlook that or think of it as just something that might attract some bigger stripers, which it may. But going down with a light stick and really small, like hoagie, heavy jigs or tiny little epoxy jigs, things like that, you can catch them. And they fight really well. They put on a good show. It's hard to land the things. They jump off half the time, but they're really fun to catch, and it's a great species to target. This week, I know Mike from Watch Hill Outfitters is under the weather, so we don't have a video from him. So that's the story that I got for you guys around this week. As the video was being put together, we saw a post come up on social media from one of our advertisers, Black Hall Outfitters. And their tog tournament wrapped up today, which was won by a respectable 9.1 pounder caught by Mike Briggs. But the really exciting thing was that they also weighed in a 21-pound massive blackfish that was caught by Eric Johnson, not the one who wrote Cliffs of Dover. And, just look at this fish. I had to do a breaking news cut in. I just thought it was too amazing not to include it in there. Wanted you guys to see that. Now we'll continue on to the report. And as we move over into Connecticut, the main focus for everybody seems to be blackfish. And the blackfishing has really picked up. I know, for the opener, it was really slow, but we had some really meh weather. And I think that was more of a factor than anything else. And then last week, we started to see some increased catches, some better sizes. And then again this week, it's just gotten better and better. So it seems like the blackfishing in Connecticut seems to be gaining speed. I talked to Toby Lipinski. He said he was out several times this week between his kayak and a friend's boat. And they did very well. A lot of nice fish, up to 9 pounds. And just really good action. He said that there was a lot of life out there, which is always a good thing. You've seen some albies popping up. He saw a pod of really big stripers. So the fishing for blackfish has been really good in the Eastern Sound. You're going to do well all around Fishers and Plum Island as well. And then as you move further west, it just becomes it becomes more and more important to isolate structure, because once you get past Clinton, New Haven, it starts to be more focused on walls, wrecks, and rock piles, because it's muddier bottom out that way. But seeing good catches from all around the Connecticut River, seeing good catches from 6 Mile, seeing good catches from Southwest. So Faulkner's, all those areas are producing well, and just seems to be getting better and better and better. Now, as far as stripers go, that bite that's been going on for at least a month now around the Connecticut River only seems to be getting better. I talked to Mike Roy from Real Cast Charters. He said that they've been getting some really nice fish on topwater, even some fish up close to 40 pounds. So again, just like around, it's not only going to be a nighttime thing to get a big fish. If you've got time to fish, whether you're on the shore, on the kayak, on the boat, if you've got time to go, you should go, because these fish aren't going to stick around forever, and there's a lot of nice fish around right now. There's a lot of bunker around, there's butterfish, peanuts, and all kinds of other bait fish around. And it's just making these bigger fish hang out there. So guys are doing very well, and seeing it's not only a few big fish either. There's a lot of slot-sized fish. There's a lot of these fish that are just over slot. Really good fishery in that area right now. If you heading west from there, you're going to find, like at 6 Mile and Southwest again, there's also a really good mix of bass from like 26 inches up to 40 inches, and bluefish in that smoker size, 2 to 6 pounds. Very good action there. A great place to go if you want to just get your kids on some fish, or you just want to go out and stick a few and head home happy. Really good fishing in that area right now for multiple species. And then as you head further west, once you get to Milford and Norwalk, in that zone, there's been another pocket of nice sized fish. Most of these fish are being taken on a live bunker or big topwater plugs like the Dock or a Splash Rock from Shimano. But I would bet almost anything that you could go out there after dark with some fresh bunker and chunk it and have a really good shot at getting, maybe your biggest fish of the entire season. But that's the caliber of fish that's out there. It's from the smallest fish that these guys are getting for the most part, 18 pounds, but I mean, the sky is the limit from there. There were fish up to 50 pounds taken over the last 2 weeks. So definitely a good place to focus your efforts. And the last thing is just the sea bass fishery, which is spreading out. These fish are coming in a little shallower from most of the reports I'm hearing. So it's been really good sea bass fishing all along the central shoreline from like Niantic all the way over to Clinton. And then again, just like the blackfish, as you get further west, it just becomes more and more important to focus on isolated pieces of strong structure. Not a lot of really big fish being taken, but plenty of keepers and millions of shorts. So the action's going to be really good, and if you're getting all small ones, just don't be afraid to move around. Sometimes it just takes a couple moves to find that right concentration of fish that has more keepers in it. And now we're going to throw it over to Max from Fisherman's World and hear what's happening out their way.
Hey everyone, Max here from Fisherman's World with another local fishing report. This week we've seen a lot of nice stripers starting to come through our waters. We've had bass of 40 pounds this week, a lot of slot-sized fish, and schoolie action. Guys are doing good from the beaches, places like Rhode Island, Campo Beach, and Calf Pasture. Guys on the boat are scoring good around the bunker schools, doing live bait, big spooch, poppers, and bucktails. And then on our deeper water reefs, we got a lot of action diamond jigging 28C and 11B. There's been monster bluefish running our beaches too, and these fish can be found harassing the bunker schools up and tight. Albies have been scattered from Fairfield all the way to Stanford, but the hot spots seem to be from Penfield Reef to the backside of the Norwalk Islands. Blackfish this week we've seen starting to pick up with our water temps starting to dip. We've seen fish to 8 pounds. The porgy bite is strong right now, and there's some big hubcaps. Guys are doing really well in finding their bag limit and fish to like 19, 18 inches, which are huge. Thanks and good luck.
And before we wrap things up, I'm just going to throw things over to Tim and talk about what's going on in the Dreamboat Challenge.
Dreamboat standing shuffle as new entries continue to come in. Hendry Piacentino entered a 5.19 pound sea bass, which helped boost his total points to the number 1 spot. Joseph Yam is in 2nd place, Garrett Weir is in 3rd place, and we have a new 4th place contestant, Michael Briggs. He's back on the board. We also saw a 26.4 pound mahi-mahi entered by Frank A. Shea, and a 7 pound tog weighed in by Rich Mastelorez. The Dreamboat Fishing Challenge is the Fisherman subscriber-only multi-species fishing competition with a chance to win a new Steigercraft center console powered by Yamaha, along with many other great prizes. Subscribe now to the Fisherman to be part of the action.
And that's what I've got for you guys this week in the reports. I hope the short, sweet version serves you well. Hope you guys have great luck after the storm. If you're not a subscriber to the Fisherman, I suggest heading over to the website and checking out what we got there. There's a lot of free content there. There's reports that cover the entire coast from Delaware to Maine, and articles to teach you how to fish throughout that entire range. Definitely worth the subscription fee. If you're not interested in subscribing, at least give us a subscribe here on YouTube. Hit that little bell down there so you get a notification when we put something new up. And give me a like. Don't you think I deserve it? See you guys next week. Thanks.